Hey guys, how y'all doing? Spock lives. This was a glass from Taco Bell. I imagine when this movie came out, Star Trek 3, they were giving these away. And it says, through the wonders of the Genesis effect, the lifeless body of Captain Spock evolves from an infant to a grown man in a matter of days. For those of you who remember seeing that movie, now I have some records here again, mostly some more country. I've been picking up a lot of country the last couple of months, I would say. Old country. Um, and here we have Loretta Lynn, woman of the world to make a man. Um, this actually has some songs on here. I don't think I've ever heard her sing before, except for Stand By Your Man. That's an old country standard. And I imagine some of these others are too. It's on Decca Records. I'm not sure what year this was or anything. It has those cool sleeves where it has all these old records that the label also would like you to purchase. This has Al Jolson, Bing Crosby, Kitty Wells, Webb Pierce, a whole bunch of stuff you would probably find in the Salvation Army or Goodwill bins these days. Um, but every so often there's a good one like Loretta Lynn. Now that's not from the dollar bins, but it is Loretta Lynn. I haven't listened to any of these yet. And here we have George Jones. We found heaven right here on earth at 4033. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. 4033, is that a zip code? His cell number? his jail cell number? I don't know. Anyways, and this also has some songs that I don't think I've heard before unless it's on. Well, back in the day, they kind of put out a bunch of George Jones or Loretta Lynn albums in different compilations, and they would just slap a different cover on them. So these could be one of those. I'm not really sure. But that's back in his younger days when he had that old flat top. Remind me, in this picture, he reminds me of R. Lee Ermey for some reason. Do you guys remember that actor named R. Lee Ermey? And he was also a military guy. He was in not Full Metal. Was it Full Metal? Yeah, Full Metal Jacket. He was in that one. He was the sergeant, the drill sergeant at the training center, and he ended up having a bad day. Anyway, and next we have another country. Now this is Clint Black, and I don't think I've ever seen one of his albums out in the wild. The wild, they say these days. That's wild out there in the jungle, folks. You could get Jungle Fever at the record store. Jungle Fever, did that sound right? Anyway, Clint Black, Killing Time. Now, I've always seen his cassettes around here and there, but never his albums. And here's one, Clint Black, Killing Time. I've always liked his music, and I seen him in concert a couple years ago here. It was a good show. And next we have a superstar, James Brown. Now, this looks like one of those, probably is one of those generic type records where, like I said, they slap a whole bunch of already old music that's not new anymore, and they just put a different cover on it and stuff. But this one's an Italian one. This is an Italian copy of James Brown. Uh, and it does have just a compilation of his hits on here. Uh, Soul Power, I Feel Good, Out of Sight, Sex Machine, um, Money won't change you. Give it up or turn it loose. But it has a pretty cool little booklet on the inside of it right there. James Brown. The only thing, it's got some cool pictures. Uh, the only thing about it is it's all in Italian, so I don't know what it says. I imagine it's just like a biography type thing there. It's all in Italian. There's him with what must be some of his, I don't know, it's either his kids or his underpaid bandmates who he was notorious for not paying them, I guess. They didn't, they wanted some cash, and if I wouldn't give them any. Anyway, some more pictures. And that's that. Let's see. Next I have, I bought some more glasses. Remember I told you I'm into cups. I got a couple of these cobalt blue. They're real pretty. I don't know if you can't really tell from this video, but those are real nice. I'm not sure of years on these. I'm assuming probably 60s, 70s, since it kind of has this, just like this cup, it has the paint on it. This one's just a prettier version. Cobalt blue cup. I have this little horse figurine here I found. It's ceramic. There's no markings on it or anything. If there were, they're long gone. A sticker probably or something. But that's a pen holder. It has two holes right here, and that's to hold pens. I thought that was kind of cool. And going along with I'm showing you some more inkwells that I've shown in videos from the past, my last one. And here I have another one. This just looks like a can, right? But actually that's a pewter pen holder right there. There's your inkwell inside there. It's actually in a little ceramic type cup. That's what would hold your ink. And this is actually for feather quill pens, which they used way back in the day. And I actually ordered some turkey feathers because I'm going to learn how to carve those out into little pens that I can use in this, which would go in these holes around the edges. Now this one I'm not real sure of a precise date, but it's of the Victorian era, because it has on the bottom, I might not be able to see it here, there's a seal there. It has a crown and a VR. Now that's United Kingdom, the Queen Victoria age. They called it the Victorian age, and this was made sometime during her reign as queen over there. I'm just gonna guess anywhere between the mid to late 1800s. I think she died in the late 1800s, and then they would have changed the hallmark. That's a hallmark. They call it a hallmark. That's on the bottom. But that's neat. Remember, we're already up to the last thing here. I'm not going to make this a real long video because I know I haven't been getting too many people watching. It's because of the length. But I have this book I found. It's called Queenie's Whim. It's kind of falling apart and stuff, but I liked some of the reading that was in it. And I think this was probably for young people, teenagers, maybe, teenage girls, or something like that. Because in the back, where is it? I have a thing here. Wait, now. Hold your medicine, horses. Books for young people and books for girls. It has a whole list of books you can order or get someplace. And this one, it's got some couple of pages that are loose. And I'll just read a little bit of this. This is why I picked this up, because it's a lot of this sounded familiar um, to me as growing up kind of a different kid in school. I have always thought the history of the ugly duckling one of the truest and most pathetic of all stories. It commences in the sad minor key, a long prelude of oppression, of misunderstanding. The unknown creature, somber of plumage, makes no way among its companions. Its folded up beauties remain hidden. The duck pond represents the world. Amid plenty of quackery and folly, the weaker goes to the wall. By and by, the key changes, the long neck arches above the weeds. Amid a burst of triumph, the ugly duckling sails away into fairyland, a beautiful swan. After all, there is a wonderful moral hidden under these quaint old stories. Beauty and goodness always go together. The ugly sister, dropping toads instead of diamonds and roses, is only the poetical incarnation of envy and discontent. Truth and mercy and kindness to the aged ways unfold themselves under the garb of a beautiful young girl. And so the children glean pre-beautiful young girl, and so the children glean precious stones of wisdom, odd-shaped and many-colored, out of the fanciful borders of fairyland. Queenie Marriott once compared herself and her little sister Emmy to the ugly duckling of the fable. There must be two of them, she said. Only it was dubious whether either of them would become swans. I just thought that was a cool intro to a book, and we all kind of get what the book's going to be about. This girl or girls that are going through problems, obviously. Anyway, that's Queenie's Whim. The kids must have really been smart back in those days, because when I was a kid, what were we reading? Like we could barely even read. Nowadays, the kids can't even barely read. Anyways, that's that book, and I'll leave you with that. Best wishes for any of you or the people living where the hurricane just went through over in South Carolina and that region. Colin over and out. Weirdos unite. Live long and prosper.